Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, June 22. On this date in 1996, ECW held its Hardcore Heaven Supercard. In the main event, Sabu defeated Rob Van Dam. On this date in 1998, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Jacksonville, Florida. In the main event, Kevin Green defeated the Giant by disqualification. On this date in 2009, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Green Bay, Wisconsin. In the main event, The Big Show defeated John Cena. This was a commercial-free episode of Monday Night Raw featuring Donald Trump as the owner of Raw. This has been Today in Wrestling History, June 22.
This is Jim the Anvil Neidhart of the Hart Foundation, and you're listening to Pro Wrestling Weekly with Fearon Derry on 1490 WBCB, baby. Yeah!
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Thank you, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Always appreciate the love. Man, what an interesting day in history. Also, today would have been John Tenta's 50th birthday. Of course, earthquake in the WWF, and then he went over to WCW and was saddled with a few gimmicks, including Avalanche, before getting a cease and desist order from the WWF saying it's too close to the earthquake gimmicks. And then he was the Shark for a little while. And unfortunately, we lost him a few years ago to bladder cancer. Very unfortunate. And also, this day, 6 years ago now, my goodness, where does the time go, was when Nancy Benoit, unfortunately, was murdered as part of the whole Chris Benoit. Yeah, that weekend is where we're at this point. So, yeah, I think this Monday will mark the 6 years since that all unfolded. Of course, over this weekend, Chris Benoit, the double murder-suicide. It's left a black eye here on the wrestling world for a little while, and everybody's been trying to kind of move past it. Thankfully, nobody's replicated that like they've done the Montreal Screwjob. Go figure. All right, we've got some news and notes here. We got a few minutes left. I mentioned a Comedy Central crossover. Mick Foley on The Daily Show. That's right. WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley making an unadvertised appearance on The Daily Show for a segment this past week that featured host John Oliver, filling in for Jon Stewart for the summer, addressing the Zeb Coulter character and immigration. The video is currently up on the WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly Facebook fan page. Be sure to check it out. It is rather entertaining. Also, we have a future endeavoring. Yes, WWE personality Matt Striker announcing his departure from the company via Twitter. He says, was just informed by WWE that my contract will not be renewed. He wrote that on Thursday. I am now available for appearances, signings, seminars, and wrestling. Deep breath. And, of course, John from the Northeast having to chime in on that. Class dismissed for the school year this past week. Matt Striker was also dismissed for this week, but there will be no graduation for him. Hashtag WWE release. Hashtag no summer school. So, unfortunately, having a little bit of fun at Striker's expense. Also, WWE creative shakeup yet again. Head writer David Kreisman gave notice to WWE, and according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, his run ended yesterday. Kreisman had been working in the role of head writer since March and previously wrote several soap operas. So the revolving door continues for the writers at WWE. And Rey Mysterio under the knife again. WWE wrestler Rey Mysterio scheduled to undergo surgery this past Thursday morning. He noted on Twitter that it's a minor procedure, but didn't get into further details after having the surgery performed by the world-famous Dr. James Andrews. He put up pictures of ice bags on his knee on Twitter, his left knee on both Twitter and Instagram. Mysterio was doing physical therapy the same day. He tweeted yesterday that he is, quote, trying to make it back by SummerSlam. Of course, Mysterio has been plagued by knee injuries pretty much for the last year and a half, between that and being suspended while recovering from a knee injury for violating the wellness policy that netted him a 60-day suspension on top of it. So the master of the 619, he has been out for close to 18 months now between the injuries and suspension. Hopefully he'll be able to make it back for SummerSlam. And, this one's right up your alley, Nick. Wrestling wife swap. WWE Hall of Fame. Oh, here.
Why would that be up my alley?
I don't know. Well, you like intriguing and funny stuff. I figured this would be
Well,
both.
you make it sound like that's kind of what I do. My wife is listening to this. Probably.
Well, to Mrs. Cataldi, I didn't mean
God.
any.
No, I got to answer this when I get in trouble. Go ahead.
What do you mean? Well, I figured you'd find this funny and entertaining. That's what I meant by it's up your alley.
Not
Not that it's something you'd necessarily
Well, the
practice.
Yankees had two players that did it. I mean,
goodness.
Peterson and Kekich.
WWE Hall of Famers Ric Flair and Roddy Piper. I'll make sure not to ask him about this tonight. And their respective families will appear on Celebrity Wife Swap.
Oh, even the real thing? You mean it's like not even like that silly TV show thing?
It's the silly TV show thing.
Boo.
A week from tomorrow, that'd be Sunday, June 30th on the ABC network. Flair will send his girlfriend Wendy to live on Piper's Portland, Oregon ranch, while Piper will send his wife Kitty to Flair's home in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Kekich and Peterson did this back in the 70s, and apparently it didn't work out so well for one side. I forget who didn't want to stay with who. I don't know, but the other ones, they stayed together since. They play for the Yankees.
Oops.
Yeah.
It's sad when that happens.
So it's truly nothing new in sports, but this wife swap thing, I've caught her on TV a couple of times.
And finally, how could I forget this? WWE announcing this week that former WWE and TNA superstar Rob Van Dam will return to WWE at July's Money in the Bank pay-per-view at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. That's going to do it for me. Thanks to Nick Cataldi. Be back live in 2 weeks, recorded next week here on Pro Wrestling Weekly.
1490 WBCB, Levittown, Peerless Hills.